Welcome to my home studio tour. We're in the back of my garden, just outside Canterbury. This used to be trees and some bushes and God knows what. We hacked them down legally, built this studio from nothing. So the studio is 4 meters wide by 3 meters long. I was really unsure about what size to make it, but that seemed to be more than big enough. I mean, it's double the size of some rooms I've recorded stuff in. So yeah, you can record piano in here, you can obviously record vocals. I can even get the drum kit out and record that pretty comfortably, so it's more than big enough. I don't know about recording a full band in here. I think that would be difficult, but maybe in the next one. All right, let's talk interiors. You may have noticed the carpet drenched on the walls. This was inspired by, I think it's Graceland, Elvis's house, I think that's what it was called, in Memphis. I think I'm getting that right. He basically had thick, really thick emerald carpet on the walls, I think for acoustics to suck up the sound. So I did this in my previous studio and it worked so well, like sucking up the sound for recording. So there's no kind of reflection or echo in here. So I thought I'd do it again. I just like touching it as well. And yeah, I wanted the whole scheme to be kind of brown, pink, warm kind of colors. I make a lot of kind of 60s music. I really love that era and that kind of aesthetic, which is quite warm, I guess, and like yellows and reds and oranges and pinks and browns. So I wanted the studio to have that feeling to it. Also, it's not like a very bright room because the sun is there and the window is there, so it doesn't let in that much sunlight, which I could have had windows there, but like I didn't want to have too many windows because for recording reasons. I thought I need to lean into the fact that it's going to be a bit of a dark room, so I thought have slightly darker, more muddy colors and it'll feel cozy as opposed to like feeling like I'm trying to make it really bright and it's just not. Let's talk wallpaper as well. So we've got this beautiful wallpaper from a company called Poodle and Blonde, which they've got amazing stuff. I obviously went with the scheme, the kind of pink and brown kind of vibe, but also it had that 60s feeling without being too pastiche, I guess. Too like, I didn't feel like it looks like I'm in some kind of like shrine to 60s music, which like I love 60s music, but I don't want it to look like a museum. I want it to look like it's inspired by that era without being like so on the nose. I'm pretty allergic to clutter in general. I find it makes things feel a bit messy and I feel a bit more unproductive, and also it makes rooms feel smaller because there's just kind of stuff. I have obviously like a piano, which is purely for recording purposes, and a guitar, and that's pretty much all I have on the floor. And obviously a desk, everything, and a chair. Everything else is just empty. But I have a cupboard in which I put all of my like little knickknacks and stuff, but I don't have to see it, which is good. This build took 3 weeks. I remember I had this amazing guy called Spencer who brought a few of his guys and did it. I wish I could say that I built it with my bare hands. I spend so much time in here. Whenever I want to like write a song, I can come in here and just get a lot of peace. It's so quiet here. You can kind of hear the goats. I think there's a neighbor who has goats behind, but it's really peaceful and it just feels like productive when I come in here and work. Practical tips for someone who wanted to build a music studio in their garden. If I were to do it again, I would have had steel joists from the ground because I have wooden joists, which I wouldn't like because they have a particular lifespan on them. I think you can, if you keep painting them, they can last like 20 years or something, but steel obviously not gonna like degrade, whereas wood rots. Sound insulation wise, I didn't do anything crazy, but the two main things I did were I have rock wool as my insulation rather than standard insulation because it's so much more absorbent, and then the standard stuff is like pretty thin and not like won't take in that much sound. And also I have my plasterboard is like specifically for sound insulation rather than like standard plasterboard, which is again thicker and more expensive, but like definitely worth it. Thick curtains, they're really useful as well because they'll soak up additional sound. A lot of people, when I said I was going to build a studio, they kind of discouraged me, like a lot of musicians, because they said, oh, you need to like have bass traps and you need to be really technical, and it needs to the corners need to be at certain angles in order to like trap the bass. And I say that's a load of rubbish. I've built 2 of these things, studios, and basically I think if you want that extra 1%, then yeah, you need to be super technical and get your angles right and stuff, but they make records in shoeboxes these days and bedrooms, so I really don't think, I think the main thing that you want to do is just like take in as much sound as possible, like so you don't annoy your neighbors and the people who you live with. I think that is the main priority, but in terms of like the specifics and like, you know, getting the angles right and stuff, it's like, don't even worry about it. I live in something called a conservation area, which means there are certain inhibitions in terms of what you can, like what you're allowed to build without the council like getting annoyed basically. But even in this conservation area, I was allowed to build this studio under something called permitted development. So it has a bunch of measurements that you're not supposed to go over. So I think you need to be within 2 meters of a boundary wall, like where your neighbor's fence is basically. And it can't be over a certain height. It's like 2.5 meters or something. It's different depending on where you live, but you can just go on the website and it kind of tells you what are the specifications, and as long as you're within these certain parameters, then you're allowed to build, no problem. Thanks for joining me in my studio today, and I'll see you again soon.